Internet's Talkitecture podcast is going to keep it foxy for Women's Herstory Month. Someone corrected me. I said Women's History Month, and it's Women's Herstory Month.
Come on.
Okay? You know what I mean? Let's get it right. All right? It's not his story. It's her story.
Her story.
Right? And her story tonight is going to be foxy.
Not brown.
Not brown, but it's going to be good looking. It's gonna be talented and sexy and it's going to be attractive.
And Raqi's here too.
Again.
Hold on for a second. Our guest tonight.
Yes.
And I got to be honest with you, Raqi.
Yes.
My first introduction to you was when you came to hang out as a muse for Cootie and Chike.
Yes.
And,
yes, my guys.
And I was just like, yo, who's that? And super producer A King was like, oh, you don't know Raqi? Like, I'm not connected to I have a television, but I don't really watch it.
Good for you.
Well,
you're saving brain cells.
I do watch sports and I watch news and stuff like that.
You gotta watch TV for the fuckery though. There's a lot of fuckery out here.
I'm glad he missed the fuckery.
I use the internet for my fuckery.
True. A lot of fuckery going on,
tons of fuckery. So I do follow you on IG,
right.
But I don't know you, Raqi. I don't know you, and you are
the great enigma.
Yeah, but no, you are. You are a known part enigma, but still a known. You're a known quantity. People have to ring your phone when they need inspiration, when they need a muse. There's something to be said for a professional muse.
Yes.
Which is somebody that back in the Greco-Roman times, this is what the Battle of Troy was started over. Helen of Troy.
Absolutely.
Like, niggas got in boats and sailed because niggas was like, yo, they got this chick Helen over there, and she's bad, and I want to fuck with her, and I'm taking my whole army so we can go bring her back.
Yeah.
I like to say she's a whisperer, too.
The dog whisperer.
A whisperer and a whistleblower. And the whisperer is the good side, the plug.
Right.
Things are happening in the culture behind the scenes, and she's connecting where she sees fits.
What's the whistleblower?
But then the whistleblowing is also of the culture, the fuckery.
Okay.
Putting things under the microscope that
are already on the surface.
We're missing it though.
Yeah, some elements of things that are
don't
surface.
Say whistleblowing.
No.
Nah,
yeah, that can get a little touchy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to think that
it's some political.
Mildly.
Yeah, I don't want to see you as a blower.
I've been called worse, but
okay.
I am self-titled the hip hop's confidant. I labeled myself that. Well, not really labeled myself. People have called me their confidant, their priestess, and it bugged me out for years.
Wow, priestess.
So I'm like, wow, this is really deep. But I took to the name. I embraced the name because I realized that I am in that space. Back way back in the day when I was working with Star and Buck Wild or doing Sirius XM radio, I would do my regular interviews, and then somehow, some way, I would connect with different artists or athletes, whatever it may be. And I'm realizing that I'm the girl that gets the 3 a.m. calls, and it's not a booty call. It's not a hey, come. I'm really listening to people's deepest, darkest secrets, their issues, their childhood stories. And I don't know how that started or why it happened. I think it's both a gift and a curse, but it's been my position, and it's, it's afforded me several opportunities because I'm entrusted with a lot of information. But the bad side of it is
taking on that pain.
Got a lot of
I'm taking a lot of their pain, one, and then two, it's like I'm dealing with millionaires and billionaires. I'm like, after I hang up the phone with you guys and consult and counsel you guys, I'm still a little bit looking for my dough for my shit.
Right. Send an invoice?
I figure it out, though. I do figure it out. Some way, somehow it does come around full circle. So
Sure it does. I mean, when you take on other people's pain and stuff like that, there's got to be a reward for you. Not in heaven, but right here, right here in this space, right here on this.
Right here in hell.
Yeah, it took a while for me to figure that part of it out, because people will use you.
Of course,
people will lean on you and get themselves together and forget you existed until they need you again. So I had to learn how to capitalize off of it in a proper way, in a decent way. But
how do you not take that energy in?
That's still a balancing act for me. It's really difficult, especially being an empath. I absorb energy like unbelievably. And so I learned to just meditate a little bit more, breathing. It sounds cliche, but there's exercises that I do to help, alleviate, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
Where are you from?
Born in the Bronx.
Okay.
I moved to Miami when I was 7, did most of my schooling there, college, etc., and then came back up to New York. So I'm a little bit of Miami, a little bit of New York.
But you didn't go back to the Bronx.
You spent your degenerate years in Miami, really?
Well, I did the opposite. Most people go from New York to down south for the summers. I was the opposite. So I'm coming to New York for all my spring breaks, winter breaks, summer breaks. So I'm Wu-Tanged out for the summer, and then I'm back to Luke Skywalker during the year. So it was kind of cool. I got the best of both worlds. It was summer all year round for me.
Right. So. Dig it. So I'm just trying to find out who you are, because
there's a long line of people.
Hold on for a second. Let's see if we can uncover it.
Sure.
Let's see if we can uncover it. You go through high school, and then let's say 18. 18 is a really transformative time for folks.
Especially for me. I had a son at 18. He's 22 now, graduated college. Thank God.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Okay. Well, 3 days before my 19th birthday, but yeah.
Wait a minute. How are you going to have a son that's 22 and he's older than you now?
Basically. I just turned 41 this past
You did not turn no 41. You're 21.
I did.
You are 21. Okay, I'm going to tell you what. You done turned 21 20 times.
It feels like it.
Okay.
I've lived many lives.
You look fantastic.
Thank
you look fantastic.
you.
41.
You.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So 18, you have a son.
Yes.
This is a huge transformation.
A necessary transformation, because God knows where I would be without him.
Wow.
Y'all with that church, y'all gonna bring me to tears at some point. I know it.
But okay, so what do you decide for your life now? You say, all right, I'm a mom. Oh damn, I got to get a job at the call center. I got to, I got to get some kind of work or something.
Right. Well, I've always been a hustler. I was legally emancipated at 14. Got my first place right before I turned 15. So I've always been.
This is Miami, right?
Yes.
I find that's probably more easy to do
down south. Yeah, I was running circles around everyone by the time I was 15. So it's like it was easy to get documents. And please, I was doing a lot.
Summers in New York. That's that Summers in New York.
Yeah, the Summers in New York taught me how to hustle proper for the
Pushing
South.
buttons, crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So so when my son came, I knew I had to settle in and do something really constructive with my life. And so it just so happened that I got into a car accident while I was pregnant. I didn't even know I was pregnant with my son until a car accident. How about that? That's a long story. So I got in touch with some attorneys that were helping me out with, suing their insurance, and I ended up working for them. So that was like one of my first real jobs. So I had a belly. I'm working with them.
And those are the kind of attorneys you really need to work for, because those are the guys that's running around chasing ambulances.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Yes. That's Jenkins and Jenkins.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Jenkins and Jenkins.
So with that, then the next step was I wanted to move to New York. I knew that the South was still really slow. And I know people don't consider Miami the South, but don't think about South Beach. Across the other side of the bridge, Carroll City, Liberty City is as south as it gets. It's duddy.
You're deep south now.
Yeah.
You've actually gone into the Everglades, really?
I mean, might as well. It was swamp.
Okay.
It was swamp-tastic, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So so I came to New York, and I got a job at a law firm, and I was running back and forth between my lawyer's office and his stockbroker's office, just bringing back and forth the paperwork. And one of the brokers asked me, he gave me the Wall Street Journal, and he was like, do you know what's going on here? And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is. And back then, the stock market was still fractionalized. So it was like everything was 0.3, 1 quarter. It was just numbers to me. And he was like, do yourself a favor. Learn this. Every day on the train, figure this out. So a couple weeks, I thought I figured it out. And he did. He thought so, too. So basically, got a group of people, stockbrokers, in the firm that I was helping my attorney get work from.
Yeah.
And they dared me to take my Series 7. The Series 7 on a scale of the hardest exams to take. It's the bar, the MCAT, then the Series 7. And I'm like really young, and I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So it took 10 signatures to bond me, which means basically they will put their name on the line for $1 million. If I get my Series 7 and I fuck up, they have $1 million to put towards me. And they believed in me for whatever reason. And self-study, in a couple of weeks, I went in and did it. So,
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So I was a stockbroker by day, and I knew I was getting tired of wearing stockings to work. I was tired of wearing like skirt suits and just being this person that wasn't really me, but I was getting to the money, but it was really infuriating. I always loved radio. So from that point on, I spent the rest of my days stockbroker by day, radio personality by night. Got my first situation through Star and Buck Wild when he was really...
What up, Star?
Yeah, and...
So we're talking like 89, no, I'm sorry, 99.
90s,
99.
yeah.
99, I'm sorry, yeah, 99, 2000. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, so that's fulfilling you. That's giving you your spirit
Yes.
a little fulfilling, a little
Yes, so it was like, I felt like, it's kind of like Superman, Lois Lane, like I'm a suit by day and then this hip-hop warrior by night. It was really cool.
Well, tell me about the night. What was the night gig?
I worked for Star and Buck Wild, and then I moved on to Sirius XM, and in between that, my story is just all over the place because
that's all right.
I know you from Gossip Girl.
No, Love and Hip Hop.
First,
right,
Love and Hip Hop.
So prior to that,
was when Joe Budden was on there. That was his first.
Yes.
Are you part of the Joe Budden?
No,
she was spicy.
Yeah, I had to be. I had no.
You're not part of the Joe Budden harem?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, that was the look, and so this is a story that never really gets told. But it was ideally that was the plan for me, Tahiri, and Joe to kind of insinuate that I was part of this tryst or love triangle. But what happens is when the camera's on, that red light goes on, and everyone's playing their role to the fullest.
Yeah.
It gets real because I'm like, okay, bitch, you're taking this a little bit too far now. Like, you're getting a little bit too disrespectful. It's like you're believing the lie. And that's when reality TV becomes real, because it's like you're going too far for the camera time right now. So, yeah, so it was, people call it selling your soul, right? It literally, that little minute piece of fakery that I involved myself in really felt like I sold my soul, which is crazy because Combat Jet used to call me. And during that time, and I really was going through a mental depression filming that show. It was horrendous because it was like every day I came home, I was fractured. I was a person that wasn't me, and I was playing a role that wasn't me, and I had to play it to the fullest. And I quit my job to do the show, and then you find out once your name is on the dotted line that you only get paid per episode that you were featured on. So you can film for 8 months. If you only if you only are shown on air once, you get one check. Oh, wow. So when I discovered that, I am still the only cast member in history to be on every single. I was on all 15 episodes. Wow. So I said, fuck that.
So that's why they that's why they be wilding, because you want to get on every episode.
Yeah,
I feel like that season was the benchmark for what it is now.
Yeah. It was tragic. Yeah. Tragic comedy.
Raqi, how scripted is scripted?
So let's put it this way. The reason why they're able to say it's not scripted is because they can't, because it's a reality show, they can't put it on paper and say, here's the script, here's the lines. But they will influence, they will suggest the shit out of a scene. And so cast members either will come up with their own scene, or a producer who's trying to get their shine, because there's several producers there trying to get their scene to be shown too, because that's how they get their checks.
Resume builder.
So it's like the Hunger Game. So if I would have went with the suggestions of producers on the show or cast members, I would have been. I could have. Oh man! I would have been the first lesbian on reality TV, or I would have. There were so many different instances
subplots in pathways. Okay,
well, you would have been. You maybe would have been married to Joe Budden by now.
Oh, father! Yeah, no. Well, no. The crazy thing is that after the first season I did, I was like, that's it. I'm tapping out, and mid-season, the following season after mine, they asked if I wanted to come back on, and I'm like, oh, let me see. Now I got the gist of it. Let me think. And I was like, well, what's the role? And at that point, Tahiri and Joe was together, and I guess they went through some shit with Tahiri found a strand of hair in the bed. It was just some weird shit. They were like, you're the head with the hair. That's your hair. And I was like, fuck that. Like, find me somebody else to pretend like I'm willing to fight over. Like, that's Joe. This is my dog, but come on now. Like,
Y'all still have a relationship?
We do. It was strained. I think anyone who watched that season knew it was pure hell.
It looked like you were the homie. You was the homie. Like you said, you were the...
Yeah, it was a lot. And I really feel like reality shows are the Hunger Games because there's a lot of betrayal that goes on behind the scenes. It's because, you know, you got to build your alliances. And I had... Midway, I had 0 alliances because I wasn't willing to do certain things. So it's like, fuck it, I'm back in the hot pot and I'm fighting everyone. The ironic thing is, immediately after shooting the reunion, I was approached by some people over at the Harvey Weinstein group, and they wanted me to
meet you.
I bet they did.
They wanted me to do a political show with Al Sharpton where I would be the liberal talking head.
There you go. Wow.
And I was like, where the fuck did you get that from?
Right.
From Love and Hip Hop to that. And they
diplomatic.
And they said basically, you know, they're producers and they could see past the smoke and mirrors. And they said one thing they saw for sure is that I stood on my square against 20 cast members. And so if I can do that, I can definitely take talking points on a political show.
You can handle the heat. But they didn't even know your background to pass that Series 7.
No.
So they didn't even really know internally you were more than built for this.
Yeah, they didn't know.
And so how did you transition to Gossip Game? Is it Gossip Game or Gossip
No,
Girl?
where do we? No,
you wasn't on that?
No, I wasn't on
Why did I
Gossip
think
Game.
you?
No, it was just
but you
Love
know
and
what I'm
Hip Hop.
talking
Yes,
about,
I do.
That was okay.
He's really putting you on that.
He's I think
honestly,
they kind of all
I think they might have
mixed
been
at the
going on
same
at the
time.
same time.
They were
That's
on
what it was.
exactly
Yeah.
at the same time.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, but Gossip
paying
Girl,
Angela Yee at
Gossip
the
Game
time.
wasn't produced by Mona Scott though.
It was on VH1. They were.
No, but it was on VH.
Yeah, actually, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
produced by Mona
It
Scott, too.
was. Yes, it was.
You know what's funny? When
She
we
have all
It
the
was.
bags.
when we had Mona Scott on the show, they were filming an episode, I believe, when we were recording when we transitioned out of Dumbo, if you remember, and we caught Mona Scott walking in the hallway. And then, you know, Combat started talking his Haitian,
Right.
ICN, whatever he be saying. And then she came in the room. And she said that, I remember her saying that there's no script. They just have the cameras rolling while these real life events are happening. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, you're right.
And you watch you watch Love and Hip Hop, right?
I've seen episodes.
Like the more current ones? Like, there's no way every season is 18.5 drinks being thrown.
You can literally watch each season now that people are like on to game and see that there's cookie cutter roles. So there's always going to be a Raqi Thunda by a different name.
Right.
There's always going to be a Joe by a different name. It's the same exact drama over and over. And I'm like, I
They
can't
just plug
believe.
and play.
Yeah, and it's still
Recipe.
going. It's still going. And the crazy thing is that the reality of a lot of the cast members' lives, mine included, is way more interesting than the shit that they put on TV.
Yeah.
Way more. I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's 30 minutes, you know?
So.
And I mean, what happens is like if the cameras are on you all the time, then it's the producer's job then to go through all that footage and say, okay, boom, how do I craft the narrative that I'm trying
and
to get to?
that's what really screwed me, because prior to getting on the show, several people said, "Don't do it, Raqi," and I'm like, well, why? I was like, they can't edit something I don't say. What I didn't think was if I said bitch at 7 a.m. and Mona at 10 p.m., they can splice that up and it says bitch Mona at 6 p.m. Right? So it was so they figure it out. It's just the more words we get you to say, the more hours we have you filming, the more Hennessy we put in your cup.
So all those fake club scenes have real liquor?
Oh no, there's liquor at the crack of dawn. Yeah, you might not eat, but you're gonna get some drinks.
You trying to be on Love and Hip Hop, Joe?
No, I don't think they want me.
How do you break that? Because that's a drug too.
What's that?
Being on television, being in front of those cameras.
I didn't like it at all. That's part of the reason why my own personal podcast has been delayed, because for me, I don't like the cameras, I don't like the lights, I don't like the nitpicking, and now where everything is so perfect on Instagram. I'm like, check me from the neck up, bitch. I got a couple of things to say. Let's have an intelligent conversation. And nowadays people are trying to figure out what length your eyelashes are, what texture weave you got in your head. And I'm like, that was just too much for me. When I was doing radio, let's say, for instance, if I interviewed Rick Ross and would say, fuck it, Rick Ross is going to Greenhouse right after, I would be able to walk the step and repeat or the red carpet with Rick Ross and not think nothing of the cameras. But then when the cameras were focused on me, it was like, oh God, I hate this. Yeah. I never wanted to do a red carpet. I don't want to take pictures, send me through the back door. So that's really not my thing. So now it's really just trying to still find balance where people can hear my voice and engage in conversation, but without.
But you can be background. You can be.
Yeah, I wanted to still be the enigma.
Yeah. Dig it. Well, I mean, I figured that when I saw you with Cootie and Chica, I figured right then, I was like, that's their muse.
Those are my guys.
They brought their muse with them.
Over 15 years, Sean. Those are my guys.
You were just hanging out here chilling, had your joints curled up then at the time. I had on some Converse Chucks, leather skirt. Just some
Damn. Outfit architecture.
I'm just saying, her fit was dope. So of course. I record that, put that in them as a Rolodex. Okay, like a little punk rock, like a little Cyndi Lauper-ish, but
I forgot.
With it.
You know what? We went to a what do you call those events? It was like some chefs that infuse all of their food with weed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I said, fuck it, let me be festive and different and weird for the night. So Cootie and Chica is part of my alternate world, my true essence, my true Raqi. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I have one set of friends that's my mainstream, which I'm almost 2 seconds short from cutting all of them off. And then we have the Cooties and Chicas of my life that are like my most supportive team of people ever. Like true family, true artists, true creatives. Yep. They're my angels. So,
Dig it. So tell me now. You're gonna work on a podcast. I mean, which is crazy because you don't have a face for radio. You have a face for television. I have a face for radio.
But she has a voice for radio, though.
Yeah,
okay.
A voice, yeah, for sure.
That's funny. Everyone talks about my voice. When I did Love and Hip Hop, amazingly, I would go to, let's say, Macy's on 42nd Street. I would have cashiers turn around and say, oh my God, I know that voice. Like people recognize my voice before my face. I've had dinners with people where they're like mid-dinner, like, I know I knew you, that voice, you're rocking. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I just love theater of the mind. Radio was just so important to me coming up, and then when they started bringing cameras into the situation, it changed the dynamic, and it was just like, oh, I hated it. So I actually could have been on season 1 of Love and Hip Hop. I never wanted to be on TV. I just wanted to do radio, but at that point, I have cameras in my face while I'm on Sirius XM anyway, so I might as well, jump ship. But I fucking hate it.
Well, you're ready for the zeitgeist now, because you're right. The zeitgeist did bring cameras into the radio booth, into the recording.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I'm all fucked up. We gotta black this thing out.
I just think too. Shit. First of all, cameras are so unforgiving. That's one thing. They add weight to you. They do so many different things, but I also just feel like, and this is a humble brag, but I just feel like I'm just on a totally different frequency that HD doesn't compliment at all. You know what? To the choir.
Bars.
Yeah, so.
In the right room for those comments. Yeah,
the episode's over.
Drop that.
I'm saying podcast, but I'm thinking also pastor.
Well,
okay, church. Yeah. When the church gonna start?
Every day of my life.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah. She is the priest.
All right.
These are her confessions.
Yeah.
Okay, Usher.
So we're here right now, but again, you've 2000, 2001, New York City. You moved up here. You relocated up here, and New York goes through this tremendous transformation. The city itself, the towers get brought down.
Yes. I actually, that's funny. I had just gotten my Series 7. Then I was supposed to be in Tower 2 on September 12th to get fingerprinted because, I'm working with the SEC now. So, God bless me.
Yeah, you didn't make that a problem.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Thank goodness it wasn't September 11th, too.
Yeah, yes. I was really traumatized. I remember I was in the office really early that day, and when the first tower got hit, and we're hearing it. We all of our computers have the Bloomberg station up, and that's breaking news like by the second.
Sure.
Something happens, and we know like in a millisecond. And so we turn on the TVs, and the second tower gets hit, and it was the first time ever hearing the word terrorist attack. For me, I know as basic as that sounds, it never flew. I guess there weren't no terrorist attacks in my day, but it just
There had not been.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe
Well,
it
there
was
had been one in Oklahoma.
Maybe it was
but
the shock.
They didn't call it that.
They didn't call it that either, right?
Yeah,
you're right.
and maybe it was just
They
the
said the
shock of
Oklahoma
it all.
bombing.
Yes.
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 Maybe it was just the shock of it all too. It was
Yes.
just like I'm standing there and I'm like, wait a minute, did we just watch another plane hit? And they said it's a terrorist attack, and I just was like hearing, ooh, like it was like bells ringing because my son is all the way in the Bronx in daycare. He's a baby. And I'm like, I got to get home to because in my mind, bombs are going to start dropping.
You don't know what's
You say
happening.
terrorist attack, I'm like, it's all out. We're in World War III. My crazy ass sister from Philly is just like, bitch, I got my 9mm. If I got to swim across the Hudson, I'm coming to get you. And she's really that girl. So I'm like, hold tight, sis. Hold tight. You ain't got to start right now.
Navy
So
SEAL. Okay, bet.
my sister has bunkers in a park somewhere already made up.
I like her style.
Yeah,
I like her
since
style.
the whole Y2K thing happened, she's been ready.
She's on it.
Yeah. So there was. I just remember it being a long. I had to hitchhike home.
Yeah.
People had to walk across the
Yeah, it was a
bridges.
lot going on, but it was just so weird because I remember the date. I don't know, maybe shock plays a role in how your brain perceives things. But for whatever reason, I do remember it being the most beautiful day weather-wise.
It
Can I tell you
was.
something?
Okay.
You nailed it.
Okay.
It was a glorious day. It
Yeah.
was a picture perfect day.
I'm so glad someone else remembers that.
It was beautiful.
No, it was.
I'm talking about like zero clouds, maybe one or two clouds, but just placed perfectly.
Yeah.
Sky was so blue. It was. I mean, I work in construction, so I was actually out early.
He was out. Mhm.
And I'm downtown, and I work downtown, and I was just like, yo, this is just an awesome day. And I'm like, oh shit, they're throwing planes into the building.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, this is fucking stupid.
I always wondered, well, one, I never even had this conversation, so I didn't know other people realized it was such a great day. But I wondered if it was because my mind was saying, okay, we're going to die. And I really was able to embrace, like, okay, it's a beautiful day to die. But yeah.
No, it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, it really, I remember the sky being perfect blue and no humidity. It was just perfect.
It was perfect. Yeah.
It's like the Matrix set us up.
Oh man.
Shit.
Damn, you're right. It would have been. I mean, listen, it was a glorious death for somebody, not me.
Yeah.
Not us. Not us.
I had a
Not
neighbor who perished, so yeah. Yeah, we waited. Actually, he was handicapped, and so we waited on him to get home, and he never came home. So it was like, oh, shit. Yeah. It was a hard first, and then it was like really difficult for me to get back to work because I'm like, I'm not leaving my
Nobody
kid.
wanted to go
Y'all
down
got
there.
me
Yeah, nobody
fucked
trying to go
up.
down
But
there.
like, I got this little boy, and I'm like in love with him. And so I finally did go to work. It was like, okay, now I got to really, really figure out my life and what makes me happy because if I'm going to die in this motherfucker, I'm going to die being happy. So, yep.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I guess you think and you say, what do I really love? What do I really love in this life? Because you know what? Obviously, none of this shit is guaranteed. On the best day ever, they knock these towers down. And the thing about those buildings, and you think about this right now. You said you got a family in Philly. When you visit your family in Philly and you come back up top, when you spot those towers, when you spot the tower with the antenna on it, it centers you.
Yeah.
And it makes you say, okay, boom. When I see that tower, I know where my office is.
Yeah.
I know where my
I'm
home
halfway
is.
home. Mhm.
It was like before there was GPS, I used those two towers to place myself in my surroundings.
Yeah.
Because one had the antenna, one didn't. So when you saw them, you could put a perspective on as to where you were supposed to be, where you lived, where you worked, whatever you had to do. So they centered us.
Yeah.
For people up here, they gave you your positioning.
Right.
And now you had no position. Now you were kind of like, yo.
It still doesn't feel the same.
No, it's
Yeah.
weird.
I
It's
don't
weird.
even, that whole Freedom Tower situation, it's a blur to me. I don't even
know whose city this is now.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
the truth is, you know how rich you got to be just to be poor in New York anyway?
Hello.
It really ain't my city. I mean,
Hello.
I'm just happy to be here.
That part.
You know, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got to get into the 2000s, and I guess I got to get your resume of musology. I got to get your resume, if you don't mind, of people who you
confided.
No. I don't want to say that. Of people you can say, hey, I've inspired these folks. I found this.
You can find my name in the credits in the back of the Games album, Fabulous's album. I'm a great dear friend to Nasir Jones. I work at Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, the list goes on and on, from the little guys to the legendary.
You wearing Gucci?
Am I personally wearing Gucci? If you buy it from me, I'm not going to turn down any gifts. Okay. That I will not. But yeah, I'm not personally spending my dollar on it.
So just doing A-list work and A-list.
Yeah, we just kind of breeze by those names. I mean, those are top tier.
Yeah.
That's nothing but the best.
Yeah.
The Game, Nas,
yeah.
Floyd.
Yeah. I've always been a guy's gal since I was a young girl. So
Are you a tomboy?
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah, my knees will tell a story or two, scrape Sid.
Well.
Well.
What story they going to tell? Okay. Internets, watch yourself.
Quite a few.
You said it.
Internets, look at the internet.
It wasn't her hair in Joe Budden's bed, all right?
It was definitely not my hair. Yeah, so I
just on a prayer pillow.
I've been the muse and the pen behind some legends. I've been a writer and composer of a lot of shit. I personally have, in ghost form, have been on ESPN about 12 times this year alone. So yeah. Then I've also found a way. There's so many ways to make money. I hate to give away my secrets, but
don't give away.
Don't do it.
Well, I won't give away my secrets.
Forget that.
How do you?
We're gonna turn the mics off.
How do you still How do you balance being a ghost, but also?
It's gotten difficult. This year has gotten difficult for me because I wanted to kind of break out a little bit more, and my pen is so fucking heavy. And I've witnessed other people get credit for my work, or people guess, and they're like, "Oh, I think such and such did this," and I have to remain quiet, and it irks me. It's funny when you write for, I hate to say it, when you write for our people, black folk, people of color, you the ghost. A white person would have your name in the credits somewhere. It's like, God damn, they're not scared to let it be known. So my thing is, it's been a little bit more difficult for me this year because I want to, get back out there again. And it's like, wow, I have a good 7 years of really quiet work that I can show. I have it in physical form, but those are things that
your name,
so
okay.
There may be people.
It's very lucrative. I get paid really well for it, and so that's that. But I've never been a sucker for just a payday. Integrity is everything, and so I'm trying to find a balance now. I'm actually in the process of writing a book and a screenplay at the same time. So one of these days, my name will be executive produced by Raqi Thunda. So
yes, that's interesting too. That when you say the value of integrity, because I'm looking at that interview that Monique had with Steve Harvey, and actually,
good segue.
When you watch the
he's
interview
really good
throughout. When you watch the interview throughout, Steve Harvey does actually on the second half redeem himself.
Okay,
he redeems himself in the sense that he said to Monique, "Listen, I'm going to put you in touch with Oprah. I'm going to put you in touch with Tyler Perry. I'm going to put you in touch with Lee Daniels, and we're going to all talk and work this thing out."
I don't know if Oprah's going to talk to her now.
Well,
Absolutely not.
Listen.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't know that at a certain point, people of color, black people, we have to kill our idols.
Yeah.
And I don't mean by killing Michael Jackson. I mean kill our false idols. Because we have a ton of false idols that operate out in the space. And I swear they seem to be connecting us, or they seem to be pulling for us, but maybe they're not. And I go back and forth. Right now, I'm anti-Oprah, but I swear, 10 years ago,
why are you anti-Oprah?
I'm anti-Oprah because I feel like, I just feel like she's more and more putting herself in the public space where she is, trying to play two sides, where she's,
She's double agent. You know what's so funny? I remember Oprah when she was big Oprah, the different kind of Oprah, right? Big fluffy hair. And I was really observant as a young girl because I wanted to be a talk show host, a radio host. Like I wanted to be Oprah. And for years, I remember one episode, I think she was on a cruise ship or something. And a lot of people don't even remember this episode, but she was literally massaging a white woman's feet. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like her after that. Mm-hmm. No offense. Mm-hmm. Right, but to me, I'm like, this is a queen, to me, and I'm like, why are you massaging this white woman's feet? Like it was degrading to me. Mm-hmm. And so for years, I always, watched her, but with the squinty eye, and people I would talk to, I would always kind of have like a low key disdain for that. And so many people either missed that or wasn't observant enough, didn't care, and they're like, oh, you're a hater if you don't fuck with Oprah. So I was like, you know what? Let me get into Oprah. So I started becoming a believer in her, but it still stayed in the back of my mind. And now the more and more I pay attention, I'm like, you were right from the get-go. I just recently learned that Dr. Sebi wanted to be on the show when he was going through trial for curing HIV. Yeah, and she declined. So it's certain things that I'm like...
Didn't know that.
I respect her for getting to the space that she is and, giving back the way she has. This is probably why I'm not Oprah at the moment, because there's certain things I'm just not going to do.
Right. It's difficult. Yeah. She makes it difficult for us because, again, when Spike needed additional funding for the Malcolm X movie, there was Oprah. So it's difficult. Like I can't be completely anti-Oprah.
I think you have to take her.
But I'm still like, there's something that's just like giving me my neck.
We do have to. Sorry.
No, you pointed out a period of time when you said Malcolm X movie, right?
Yeah.
She probably wasn't Oprah today then. Mm-mm. She's gone through different processes. I want to imagine.
Well, you got to still think that there are still the powers that be.
Well,
and
I think
you have to play the game to get
right there with her, like.
That's
what I'm saying. It's like,
this is the thing.
But why?
And to be honest with you, you've played the game to a greater degree than anybody else in this room. Mm-hmm. You've seen behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
So you kind of understand the challenges that are put in front of people. One, to get credit. One, to get paid.
Just navigating in itself is a job.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Just to even get the call. Mm-hmm. Just to even get the call, because before you can get credit and before you can get paid, they got to call you.
Yeah, yeah.
They got to call you. And there's tons of people, who will do whatever it needs to be done.
There's a network of successful people in the entertainment business, and for your name to ring bells without stories behind it is a really great thing. It's funny because a lot of my. After doing Love and Hip Hop, social media eats that shit up. And they're like, you might have seen one or two pictures of me hosting a club, and then that's it. So it's a big joke like, oh, she can't even get a hosting gig. And I'm like, yeah, but, those bitches look like they're 89 years old out drinking in the club every night. I'm getting quiet money over here. Mm-hmm. I forgot where I was going with that.
You're talking about your integrity and just not.
Yeah,
not
so me not having to compromise myself for situations, for checks, has been wonderful for me. It's been a blessing for me.
That's what's allowed you to keep your youthful composition.
Thank you. And it's just so funny because people who don't know the behind the scenes, they're like, oh, you squandered an opportunity. You were on Love and Hip Hop, and where are you now? I'm like, if you only knew. Like, I really live a charmed life. Like,
Love and Hip Hop's the level up. That's how they've got it.
Absolutely no idea. Yeah. I've had jets sent to Teterboro, 10 minutes from my house at any hour of the night just for consulting. I've sat on the runways on jets, or I've flown across the world, the globe, to figure some shit out. I'm like the Olivia Pope of hip hop.
Dig that. Oh, that's dope. That's a dope. That's a dope analogy.
That's a good tag.
That's a dope analogy. But the main thing is that you don't have to manage anybody else's expectations anyhow.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, I mean, you kind of leave yourself open for criticism on social media, unless you just don't allow people to comment. But you don't have to manage any of those people's feelings.
6 years after doing Love and Hip Hop, it's great. I love my followers. I don't get any shit talk at all. But the first year was like, yeah, I mean, skull dragging me for things that weren't factual at all, which is just so insane to me. We had girls straight off the stripper pole, which all respect do, like, do your thing, but they're like upheld. What's the word? They were up. They were
put on a pedestal.
Yeah, uplifted. You know, they were the greatest. They're the queen bee. And I'm like, bitch, do you know what I've gone through to get to where I'm at for you not to know my name, for you to have not seen my ass before? So, yeah, it's just bizarre. The world is bizarre. Yeah,
and there's not a check that could be cut that would get you to, like, even knowing the Love and Hip Hop game now, like you said, like, you could play it, but is there an amount that you'd be like, oh, I'll turn up for that?
No.
To Steve Harvey's point about, you know, there being a certain amount that
I have to have some kind of creative control. You know, unless I was at the point where it's like, you know, food isn't on the table and bill, and there's no telling what I would do. You know, I'm a hustler to get it.
Coming straight off stripping with that, you know,
yes,
different circumstances.
So the thing with reality TV, if you come in at the bottom, the only way you can go is up, and if you come in at the top, the only way you could go is down. Especially when producers are threatened by you. Yeah.
What made you turn down the political show?
Well, I don't like politics at all. It's just suspect. I thought it'd be very irresponsible of me to take that position as a liberal, to have a say in politics where people, I'm sure I would have some kind of fan base and they would go with what I was saying. They counter offered me a deal where they're like, okay, we'll give you your talking points the night before, study them and spit them. And I was like, that's really disgusting. So I said, I'll do you one better. Let's rewrite the show, and I could show you how I could be a moderator and how this could play out. Long story short, the show never took place, but it would have been myself, Al Sharpton, and Kadar Massenberg.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, and I fell back, and I kind of got in Kadar Massenberg's ear, and he fell back as well. So, but I spent after that process, I spent several months in the company of Al Sharpton and his peers, and that. Yeah, I'm glad I backed out. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot that goes on in that world, and I'm like, holy shit.
For real.
The hangout was in a cigar bar in the building. They call it the top of the 666. It's really a building called
666 Fifth Avenue.
666 Fifth Ave. So the very, very top floor is the cigar room. And that was at the time where Al Sharpton was writing his book, in the process of writing his book. And so I hung out with him and the head of, they call them in and out. Let's just put it that way. One guy can get you a district attorney. One guy can get you locked up for the rest of your life, and one guy can get you out.
Nope.
So, you know, without saying their names, literally we call them in and out. And it was just a bizarre... It's a bizarre world. You know, when they spoke about Barack Obama, they called him Barry. And it was like, in Barry, and I'm like, wow, y'all talking about Barack Obama? But, you know, I'm keeping my cool. And I'm like, you know, I'm with the shits.
Barry,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Dallas. But you're seeing really how power acts.
It was scary.
You know, when it's kind of peeled back.
It was scary.
That's very powerful.
It is.
To be around power and to kind of maintain your composure and not be like, you know, because people get around power and all of a sudden they melt.
Yeah.
And they kind of melt into the chair, or they melt into, you know, a glass of water to be consumed.
Yeah. And I'm such a great observer of things that I'm nearly, how can I say, I also go by the oracle. So things that even I don't register on the surface will hit me later, and I can basically break down a couple of things. So I found a good space within that company for a while, and then after a while, it's like, okay, that's it. I kind of it's a lot. It's a lot. You guys go ahead and handle that.
I guess I understand better now. Raqi was recently on the Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah,
and I think she was even kind of on on a wavelength that we presented on this show about the Jussie Smollett situation early. And so now it makes sense, knowing how involved you are, in the behind the scenes, that you were able to see things for what they are as soon as they come up, as opposed to having to have it revealed to you later in the news.
Yeah.
Has there been anything else, or maybe even on this season, like of Love and Hip Hop, like you said, now you see it and you can kind of see each role for what it is. It's
I don't even watch it anymore. I'll be honest.
Not at all. You don't see any of the clips or anything?
I'll catch a snippet on Instagram, and it's so funny to me now. I'm like, wow, this is so made up and such a farce.
Well, where's your tinfoil hat at on these R. Kelly interviews?
You know what? I got into a couple arguments or debates today on Instagram. There's several activists and really pro-black brothers that are just like, oh, first of all, they're...
And sisters.
Yeah. Well, there's people who become very disrespectful towards Gayle and Oprah Winfrey, and I kind of feel like as black men and sisters, you can debate or build on facts where you don't have to tear and disrespect two successful black women. Like, those are the two that we have. Like, let's not do that. I was stuck between... I understood where people were coming from when they said we shouldn't air out our dirty laundry. Like, why make R. Kelly the face of pedophilia when there's...
But we're not doing that.
Thank you, brother, because that was my point all day today.
We're reacting to the
you made yourself the face.
We're reacting to it.
Right.
No, but I feel that there's people that are bringing more attention to it. Not saying it shouldn't have any attention. Yeah. But they have an agenda. Right. And then what we're doing, what you're seeing is the reaction to the agenda.
Well, one, I don't think no one forced
Without
R. Kelly
facts,
to go. Right.
When no one's studying facts, we're looking for the short
story.
Fact. We go to Instagram, we watch 30-second clips.
The movie.
No one is watching or like going back to the Jussie situation. Mm-hmm. When you were
breaking it
on
down.
Instagram, breaking this shit down, to where I'm like, the common person can't read through that shit. Like,
yeah.
But you're pointing out facts.
Yeah.
You're showing sources and everything else. And I don't think people, even with the Michael Jackson situation now, right? We're just going by. I've seen, man, I don't want to put her out there. Somebody who I highly respect. She's an OG writer. She wrote a piece saying to cancel Michael Jackson off of what she saw on the documentary. And I'm like, well, he had a case. There was FBI documents that didn't show anything. Right. Like, these things have been in the atmosphere for years. Right. Why now? Because you see this expose, so to speak, and Oprah.
Which you actually see as propaganda. Because, I mean, again, for a documentary to be a documentary, it needs to discuss all the points.
I do believe firmly in gut feeling and intuition as well. So if you're basing your judgment on something based on your gut and intuition, I'm not going to, overstep that. Now, if you're basing it on, oh, these two guys just came on, did a documentary and I'm going with what they say versus what the FBI has come up with, then you're kind of off. But like with the Jussie situation, none of what I broke down was based on the Chicago Police Department or anyone. My gut immediately was like...
Immediately.
Yeah. I mean, it was scary.
She was pointing out shit before it was bugged out because I would read her joint and she's like, yo, case analysis type shit. And then a day later, it'll be on the news that there's some sus shit going on and they spoke to two dudes.
It was crazy because I'm such a Black Panther at heart. Like, I'm ready for the shit. I was actually at Joe Budden's podcast when we found out about when it was breaking news that Jussie had been, and I'm that person. Like, let's fire this shit up. Let's burn the city down. That's me. So for something like that, where you're saying a black man was lynched and bleached, I'm go. Yeah. And something I had my phone in my hand, and the first thing I posted, which it was almost bizarre to me. I said something like, let's not all jump on the bandwagon when there's Hollywood lights involved, right? And I put up 4 names of brothers who were actually hung this year, literally hung and dead and got no attention. Yep. So I said that's 4 of the 12 that I know off the top of my head this year. So, and right before I hit, post or send or whatever the hell it is, I was like, damn, does that seem insensitive? But I just went with my gut. And I'm like, this is how I feel. So after the podcast, I go home. It's 2:00 in the morning. And I'm like, let me see this motherfucking letter again. So I'm looking at the hit letter. I'm like, if this shit don't look like an Empire prop.
She showed how the letter,
the fonts were the
what was
same.
it, the ransom letter.
The ransom
Comparative
letter
to the album cover, the single that he dropped, the text.
There was too much.
Crazy.
There was a lot going on.
There was a lot. There
But
was
you know,
too much.
I think Raqi's given so much wisdom, even at 41 years, and on the short time we've had, she's given so many just little gems all along the way, realizing that, you know, one of the things you said you didn't want to do the political show for was that you knew that you had a fan base in some regard, and so you could easily influence these people who kind of look to you to tell them what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
You get somebody like Oprah behind the Michael Jackson stuff, and there's just going to be a legion of people who haven't peeled back that layer on Oprah since young and are saying, she's on it. I gotta trust Oprah on this.
Whatever.
She's not a DA. She's not anybody in power. She's not FBI.
I think actually listening to Raqi, I think about other people who misuse these platforms. I think about the Tommy Lahren girl.
Oh,
gosh.
No, you know
she's taking her.
Well,
she's shooting her shots. She's shooting her shots. She's trying.
When we talk about integrity, because you could be that.
Yeah.
You could have been that before.
Easily.
That was that.
Yeah.
Stacey Dash.
And
yeah.
Right. But you've got enough integrity to say, you know what, I'm not going to use myself
Just
and
no
my
thirst.
platform.
I'm
No
very
thirst for the camera.
at this stage in my life as well. I'm very cognizant of who I am. I know that I have no gray. I'm black or white, love or hate. So if I'm going to talk my shit, especially in a political stance, we might go to war fucking with me. So so I'm like, let me just stand back because I'll let you guys handle this because I can see through a lot of bullshit and it's go time if you ask me.
I think that
All
is
right, good. Chill.
Chill. Rally the troops.
Chill. Your little man's still too young yet.
Yeah.
You gotta take him to the range. You gotta take him to the range a little more. Let him get his.
Proper.
But you just don't hear about that often today, where everyone wants a microphone, everybody wants a cell phone so they can Instagram live something. Everyone's looking for a moment or something that's going to get them a little bit further out there, and you have been able to work alongside people who, I mean, in a lot of cases you can't even talk about.
Yeah, it's just trying to find a balance. Even with things that I'm constantly deleting or archiving things on my social media, on my Instagram or Twitter, because I have friends who don't pay me that use my intellectual property without one giving me credit, which is okay, but it's like you don't even like the post. Like you're trying you're not engaging at all. Like I've literally heard full-fledged podcasts based on conversations I've had, and I'm like, that's cool because I've been the ghost for a really long time. But it's like when opportunities present themselves for me to have the light on me, stop feeling threatened. So it's just a weird space where now it's like I'm almost hesitant to talk the way I talk and put things out there without me knowing that I'm going to capitalize off of it right now because my intellectual property is worth a hell of a lot. Like Chicago PD would have been done with Jussie week 1.
How do you ghost for ESPN?
Well, it's via entities that need to make statements, whether it's like an athlete that has to put out a statement, whether it's an injury or death with another athlete, a statement or a charge that they're now facing, and they have to make a statement. They're looking to them, whether it's an Instagram post or a true statement, and they're like, come.
Is it true that you're helping Michael Jordan write his response to LeBron beating his record?
I wish I can do it with my eyes closed.
Yo, can I just tell you something though? Kobe Bryant is the GOAT. Okay.
Of the
I thought he was the Mamba. I thought he was the Black Mamba.
Of the last 25 years, Kobe Bryant is the GOAT.
No, not 25.
Who?
You said 25.
Of the last 25 years.
Jordan.
I'm talking about with Jordan.
No.
Listen, Jordan had coach.
No.
Rodman.
Stop it.
Grant. Jordan had all these supporting people.
No.
I can't go back and forth with the stats, but I do have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Without stats involved, what are the differences between LeBron James and Michael Jordan, since everyone is comparing them?
It's many differences. One of the differences is the style of play. In both eras are different. And I think that their greatness is a result of that. One. So Jordan, he played through. You had
The Pistons.
you could hand check back then. Now everyone's like hands off. You can't foul.
Defense.
You could play. You could
Yeah,
play
it was
bully.
real deep.
It was bully ball all day, every day.
Yes.
Can't. It was
No
more.
blood, no
it was
foul.
probably the closest thing to street ball.
Now
You
it's
can't do
flop.
that,
Now
right?
it's flop ball.
Right. And so that's one.
I mean, now you have a situation where teams are averaging 120 points a game.
More than that because of the 3-point line, the
Before
3-point shot.
the Jordan era, teams averaged 85, maybe 90.
Defense was your offense back then in that era, and that's one thing. Jordan was just as good on defense as he was on offense. Plus, you said something. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm saying this shit. You said something about his co-stars. His co-stars wasn't shit. Jordan made them better.
Hold on for a second.
Jordan made
Hold on for a
everybody.
second.
You didn't know who. Listen.
Don't say his co-stars weren't shit.
When I say that they weren't-
his co-stars got him over the hump.
Kobe came. He wasn't. And I'm not saying he wasn't shit, but he wasn't doing anything before he got with Shaq. Right? He had to get with Shaq. Jordan hadn't. He didn't need to get with anybody.
I'm talking about forget Kobe and Shaq.
That's the difference.
Forget Kobe. Kobe got back to back.
Kobe didn't make
Kobe
plays
got
better though,
back-to-back
but he never
championships.
made no one better. Jordan made every. We wouldn't.
What do
know,
you mean Jordan
if
made these guys better?
If
These guys were already
If
good.
BJ Armstrong was on the Nets, we would never have heard about him.
You would have heard about BJ Armstrong.
No,
you
if
would've-
John Paxson was on the Nets,
Don't do
we
that.
wouldn't have heard about him.
First of all,
Tony Kukoc, we wouldn't have heard about him.
What was BJ Armstrong's stat line?
Stop it.
He was a 3-point specialist.
What was his stat line? Though? Hold on, what was his stat line though?
DV.
I don't know, 10 points a game, maybe.
Not even. So BJ Armstrong would have still been bum ass BJ Armstrong.
No, we wouldn't. We
still
today,
scoring the same amount of points. But we know about him because he played
because
with
he
Jordan.
played with Jordan. Jordan
Listen,
made him better.
Jordan didn't make him better. Jordan made him known.
relevant.
Thank you. So that don't mean nothing.
Who Kobe made relevant? Tyronn Lue, 'cause he stepped over him?
He made Pau Gasol relevant.
Pau Gasol was already. He came in the league.
Pau Gasol was doing things in Europe.
Yeah, that's
Pau
enough.
just-
That's nothing.
That's wow.
Pau was in Memphis.
That's nothing.
Pau was in Memphis.
Pau Gasol was doing
Yeah, they
stuff.
traded.
Oh right, they trade. Right.
Pau was in Memphis and
Pau
they traded
Gasol was
for him.
doing stuff where nobody gave a
it.
fuck. Okay.
You saying Kobe?
Now, they didn't give a fuck.
Lamar
Pau was giving
Odom.
you a double before that.
Lamar, double. What is a double?
Internet.
Pau was not giving you 10 and 10.
Internet. You listen to this episode.
Pau Gasol is
Pau
a
was
burger.
not giving
Please.
you 10
Pau
and 10 before
Gasol is the
Kobe.
burger that
Tweet.
you get
Hold
with
on.
sweet potato fries.
Stop it. DP,
Please
stop
tweet
it.
at Dallas
Pau
Penn
Gasol is a veggie
and tell him
burger.
that he's full of shit by saying that Kobe's better than Michael Jordan. Kobe did have moments of excellence, but Jordan had a whole career of it. Every day, in and out, he was a killer.
A whole career of excellence.
Can I say something to the
Washington
internet?
Wizards.
Hold on.
Dog, he was
Rocky
89
wanna
years
talk.
old.
I have,
Rocky was
I have
talking internet.
absolutely no idea what the fuck anyone's talking
I'm
about,
with
but
you
I
here.
will say this.
Yeah.
Cootie and Chike
Yeah.
have a documentary coming out.
Yes.
It's a kid from Coney Island. It's based
Yes, it
on
is.
Stephon Marbury. It is absolutely
the
one
GOAT
of the
point
most
guard in New York.
amazing documentaries. I was fuck it, I'm gonna say it. I sat in several editing processes for the documentary. I might have added a tidbit or two, but
The ghost.
absolutely amazing. I watched it from the beginning to the end.
Why did they do
several
that
times.
movie?
Why did
This is a shot at Joy right here.
Uh-oh.
Because
It's not a
Stephon
shot.
Marbury is the GOAT point guard of New York City.
That's
Rod
it.
Strickland, Mark Jackson?
Period.
You know, I knew
It's a
of,
lot.
I knew of Steph and his
lot.
swag
It's not
coming
that
up. You know,
Super
I'm a
swag.
girl, so I watch it from a different perspective.
Super swag, but he's not the GOAT.
He's not
Of
the
New
New
York
York
City.
Oh,
Who's the GOAT
shit.
New York City point guard?
You're gonna
got a
skip
lot.
over Nate Archibald?
Yeah, like you got
You're
a
gonna skip
lot,
over. You're gonna
King.
skip over Kenny Anderson.
I'm saying that
You're gonna-
Stephon
Kenny,
is
you
better
doing
than
a
Kenny.
lot,
Listen,
King. There's a
King.
lot
saying
of
it.
point guards out
King,
of New
man,
York.
King, you-
King.
I'm not saying Kenny wasn't nice.
And there's
He's
no
one of these
disrespect to
guys who
Steph.
just turned on ESPN radio.
Right,
So
like-
now
No,
he's
that's
all
bullshit.
activated.
Stephon Marbury influenced.
Who?
Who?
New York City basketball.
What are you talking about?
King, stop.
Who's come out of New York
Oh
City
my
now?
God.
Since?
King, stop.
Who
Right,
has come
exactly.
from-
New York is a hard playground.
Kings.
It's a hard
No,
place to really
exactly.
do.
And
I'm
there's
talking
a lot
about
of
some New
point
York
guards.
City, along with
King,
Chicago,
Stop that,
along with Detroit, used to produce
No,
basketball players.
I'm not talking about that.
Now the only place you're going to get basketball players from now is a place where you're getting interracial people. where you're getting
I'm
you're
not
getting white
touching
women
that
mixed
either.
with black
You know
men and making interracial babies.
Like
That's-
Arizona.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly,
the Suns,
exactly.
shit like that.
That's where you're gonna
Yeah.
get basketball players from.
I'm talking
football
about-
players. You're gonna get from Texas and Florida. One because they play all year
One
round.
time for the 305 for sure.
Listen,
Yeah.
Yup,
DP.
they play
UM,
all year
University of
round.
Miami.
all,
one
all
time.
the high school,
King, let it drop,
all the high
King.
school
King,
in New
drop
York
it,
City
King.
after post Marbury was looking for a Marbury.
With that being said, make sure you guys check out the documentary.
Absolutely.
There you go,
Coney
Raqi.
Island. It's
Bring
absolutely
us back,
brilliant.
Raqi.
After
When is that
seeing
coming
it,
out?
the film festival is in April,
Yeah.
so it'll be
have
premiering
Cootie
there.
Come back
Oh
up.
yes, indeed.
That's going to
Come
be
back up.
amazing, and
Gonna be the
I'm going to
playoff time.
say. I've been through the editing process with them. I've watched it. I can't even tell you how many times, and every single time I cry.
Wow.
Yeah, they got it with this one. So shout out to my boys, Kuda and Chike. Congratulations in advance.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Yeah.
We gotta have him back on the show.
That was a dope
see if we get him
plug.
back.
The
Yeah.
Oracle.
We may
right
not be
there.
able to get him back. We got him early now. They
I know,
gonna be on the level. They gonna be,
We gotta wait a little bit.
Yeah. Y'all niggas in the hot box. Nah, we good.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, we're in Hollywood this week, y'all.
yeah.
Shouts to Cootie and Chike.
Yep.
They are dope. They are dope.
I'm
They are
probably
dope.
stopping by the crib right after this.
Oh shit, yo! Can we go and watch the
You want the advance?
We gonna come to watch the doc with
Can
you.
we get a screening?
It's actually being scored right now by one of our other partners, Citizen Chance, who's fucking amazing. I mean, we're a self-sustained
collective?
group. Yes, we're a dope collective
That's
of
dope.
friends and family, which is, I don't know why it took me so long to say, let's do the podcast together. And we actually did our first few episodes recently with Dion Cole, who is my co-host.
Shout out to
Dion
Dion
Cole,
Cole.
yeah,
Blackish.
Blackish,
Oh,
Grownish,
Grownish, yep.
10-year writer for Conan O'Brien, the biggest night show there is.
Oh, dig it.
Yeah, comedian. He just came off tour with Martin Lawrence. So it's just crazy. The people I have in my corner that are just like, hey, it's like, you're
What's the name
dope.
of the podcast?
Adults Only.
Nice.
Yeah, sweet and simple. Cut the shit.
I always tell people that, like, you know, people that vibrate under the sun, you know, that share the same frequency, because the sun's throwing waves at the planet.
All day.
You know,
I always say I live by either candlelight or sunlight. I
That's
don't
it.
deal with all this
listen,
extra
the
shit.
sine cosine frequency, it's a wave that comes in.
Yeah.
And certain people that feel that wave a certain way, they're at a Trump rally. Certain people that feel that same wave, you know, they somewhere getting doped up.
In the Bronx.
But the people that feel that frequency the same way
Yeah.
find each other.
They need to.
And when they do find each other, and when they do, in those instances where they find each other and collect and make a collective,
Yeah.
then you get a powerful group of
Yeah.
people.
You have to
Because
find your
it-
tribe, for
yes,
sure.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I believe I'm with segregation. Keep me with like-minded people.
For sure.
Everything
Sure.
else could kick rocks.
Word. Word.
Have you, in your experience with working with folks, those that you can talk about, have you had a combination or a chemistry with one that's kind of superseded the others? Do you have anybody that's like, when y'all get together, it's magic every time?
I'm magical. I bring the magic, so I'll say that. And that's a humble brag. I'm not bullshitting. I activate. I know when it's time to activate. And then there's times where I'm just like, you know, regular me. But
Is there anyone that's called you up and said, hey, I need some of that magic, and it hasn't been a match?
No. No.
Damn.
No.
I gotta get in a room with Raqi.
I think when we get
Oh,
to
look at
that,
this.
when we
Phone
get
call.
to that point, it's God intervening. You know, I could be doing a million other things. There was times where I didn't understand why I'm here, and a lot of times it's like I end up in the room for free and walk out with, you know, months and months later with something. Like, for instance, I did a project with. I did a small skit with Fabulous on his which Loso's Way, which is what, 11, 12 years old now.
Yeah.
And it was just for the love. It's just totally entertainment, right? And
When the money goes was about you?
well, I was in that video. I was in the Throw It in the Bag video, but I also did the skit. I was the European or British or whatever the hell
British.
journalist that was Loso, question with you, Loso. That was me. And I did it for the love. And how many years later, my son wants to go to a college down in Orlando, Full Sail University.
Trying to do music.
Been there.
Yeah, production, and there's no student housing. So between the tuition and student and apartments and everything else, I'm like, okay, we're looking at $100,000 school for this shit. Okay, kid. And I looked at the wall, and there was a honoree posted on the wall, DJ Swivel. And I was like, damn, I feel like I know that guy. And my son was like, Mom, you think you know everyone? And I'm like, I think I do. So I looked him up, and the Grammy Award winning producer, worked with Beyonce. So then it said Loso's Way. I was like, boom, I do know him. So I hit him up. I said, hey, it's Raqi. I'm not sure if you remember me, but I worked on Loso's Way project. He was an EP producer on there. And he's like, of course I remember you. What's up? And I said, yeah, my son's looking to go to the school that you went to, and just trying to get some advice. So long story short, just that year my son graduated high school, they came up with this program called the Legacy Program, which means you either have to be a family member or a mentee of someone who's part of the honorary program of the school. Yeah. And basically had to write several essays of why you should be given this scholarship. Long story short, just for me doing the skit on Loso's Way, 18 years later, I get a $40,000 scholarship for my son to go to a school. So it pays, and it's just how things go full circle. So
that's dope. Congrats.
Thank you.
Super.
Thank $40,000.
Yeah, you like.
Initially, they called me and said, "Oh, we gave you the $20,000 towards your legacy," because the scholarship was up to $40,000. So they said $20,000 the first time they called, and I was like, "Well, I'll fucking take it." Yeah. And I'm crying. I'm like, "Lord, I'm so grateful. Thank you, Lord. I'm so grateful." And then the phone rang again. I was like, shit, they gonna take this shit away.
And they was like, no, we doubling it. And then it's
like, I'm sorry, you actually got the full $40,000. I'm like, God, you're the greatest.
That's dope.
Yeah, so
that's the shit, the type shit that just make you want to put a hood on, go outside and shoot somebody. You know?
It's doing.
I mean, don't shoot nobody, internet. Don't shoot nobody.
Just invincible.
Well, don't put a hood on.
Yeah. Just
no, I mean, so she could be undetected. I mean,
just moving in a state of gratitude. You know, people short themselves a lot of times where they go into a situation, they're like, shit, I got to get paid for this right now, and you're gonna end up doing something strange for a piece of change if you keep putting yourself out there like that. Sometimes you just have to fall back and just be grateful for the opportunity, be grateful for the air that you were given at that moment.
That's why a lot of people start projects and they don't follow through on them 2 months in there. Even with this podcast growth, there's so many different podcasts that's been started up because, in my mind, you know.
You got any more for Raqi's cup?
Oh, sure.
I don't really need it, but that's
just
fine.
A little.
You know,
peer pressure.
If you're a trendsetter,
thank you.
You know, that's not overnight. You know, as we did with the Combat Jack show, that wasn't. We were doing that shit for fun.
Oh yeah.
But then people was standing next to us and got inspired, but they didn't want to go the long game.
Man, shout out to Combat Jack.
You know, they'll do 2 months and then be out. I don't want to do the work.
Combat Jack was like one of the pretty much only pioneers and people that I respect in the game that literally didn't DM me, didn't talk to me in the comments, called me. First call out the rip was like, hey, how's it going? How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. We're shooting the shit, fluffing it. And he's like, how are you? Literally. And I was like, I'm cool. I'm cool. And he was like, no, how are you? And there was so much emphasis in that second, how are you, that before I even got the word out, tears were rolling out my eyes. I'm like, okay, well, really, what had happened was. And we just, from there, we just kept a great rapport. But I love him dearly for that alone, because it's rare that people in this rat race of a game, the industry, entertainment world, where they really, they don't want to hear, I'm cool, how are you doing? They don't. They don't want
that industry talk. They don't want that.
Yeah, it's like, how are you? And me being the confidant, you know, I'm constantly, you know, taking on everyone else's strain. Like, when do they ever ask me? So it's, you know, Combat took a couple of my worries and.
Shouts to Combat. Yeah. We always got to think back and enjoy our time with Combat, man. And crazy, man. I tease him, you know, on these podcasts because I was supposed to die before him.
Oh my God.
You know. Well, I mean, you know, just because the fun we would have had, you know, when it happened. Because we would be talking about it now, we'd be like, yo, Dallas was crazy. You know, Dallas was, you know, you see they came out with 4 Loco in a gallon.
Yo, that's crazy.
In a gallon container.
Is this recent? In 2019, people are still drinking
like a Minute Maid carton.
Yeah, have
4 Loco.
I don't know. Oh, man, who knows?
Yeah, well, no.
I mean, I don't drink 4 Loco no more.
Okay.
I don't drink 4 Loco no more.
Yeah, good.
But,
good job.
You know, shouts to Combat.
Yeah. We actually had a whole carton before you got here, but we brought the Bel Air out for you.
Yeah, no, I use beet sugar nowadays, so yeah, I'm trying to stay away from all that other extra shit.
How important is diet to your mental health and your peace that you talked about?
It needs to be more important. I have my times where I'm super structured, and then sometimes I'm a carbaholic. I will say that, and I do love sweets. I need sweets, but I do know the difference between when I'm on my square and I'm not, eating sugars, and I just feel different. I'm mentally in a different space. My body feels different. I can heal, certain things faster. And then when I'm eating like shit, I know it's no good. But that's part of the goal of me, getting more structured. Kudi and Shiki, I'm bringing them up again. I'm with those guys 5 days out the week, and one is vegan, and one is vegetarian or pescatarian, and they're always on my back. So, that's the goal, is to get to the point where I'm not
Shout
eating some bullshit. Yeah,
know about that Beyond Meat?
I've had it. It's good.
Yo, I had a Beyond Meat burger the other day from Carl's Jr. that I didn't know existed in Brooklyn.
Carl's in Brooklyn, really?
On Clarkson Avenue, across the street from Kings County Hospital.
You really bigging up Carl's Jr.?
No, I'm really not. I'm just trying to tell you where to get this burger.
No,
right?
he and I have had a discussion offline.
Yo, the burger.
He called me up after coming from.
I don't eat burgers anyway.
Like,
I'm like more of a pescatarian, but that Beyond Meat. Hey, yo.
I wonder if that's the same.
This shit tastes like a Whopper.
Yeah, I had an Impossible Burger. Is that the same?
Impossible Burger is fire. But it's
amazing.
a little bit, Impossible Burger is kind of big, though. Pause.
It is.
But the Beyond Meat, Beyond Meat is a little bit slimmer.
Yeah.
And you look at, when you eat it, you look at the inside like, this is a lie. This is a fucking beef bison or some shit.
Internet's
a big old line.
I say, just to say, next week I might come in here with a bunch of Beyond Meats, so y'all can try.
Have a meat fest.
A Beyond Meat.
Meat fest.
Let's have a real meat party.
Beyond Meat?
I mean, you don't do that deaf shit we used to do no more. You don't do none of that White Castle, that White Smash.
Man.
Shout out to Premium Pete.
That we used to do deaf.
I'm not gonna lie, I have a White Castle nearby me, and it's open 24 hours.
Wait, they got the Impossible Burger, though.
You in the Bronx?
I'm in Jersey.
It's impossible that they have one.
Impossible Burger there.
I don't want it. If I'm going to White Castle, I don't want an Impossible Burger. I want a American.
Right. If you go to White,
If they sell Beyond Meat at White Castle, that's a question mark.
The people who prepare the Impossible Burger at White Castles, they disrespect vegan life. They just like, this shit don't count, and they just put that shit in the bun.
Wherever it is.
You get a burger made of French fries.
Like, fuck this shit.
Well, it's crazy that now at this age in life, you eat it, and immediately after you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. You could taste the poison.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that happened to me for alcohol. I used to be at the open bars and, open bar life.
Remember what was that drink they had? Remember Coors Light had like a colorful. Remember that what was that Santos? South Park. They would have
the mountains would get blue.
All I can tell you is that I got to the point where, and I go to work the following day. Because, I mean, listen, podcasting, that life right here, okay, I have a day job.
Okay.
And I go to work and it's coming out of my pores, and I'm a functioning alcoholic. All right, but I don't really recognize that I'm smelling like alcohol around everybody I work with. But it got to the point where I was like, yo, I can't even make it to work.
Yeah, I don't like alcohol at all. Alcohol has always been poisonous to me. Yeah. One glass, I'm like, oh, kill me now.
That's second favorite for you.
I'm a huge advocate of CBD, THC. That's the medicine. Yes. Yeah, and I can't wait for New York to wake the fuck up.
Can you see what they did? They tried to pull back the infused CBD at restaurants.
Yeah.
But then they stopped that until June because they're trying to figure out, in my mind, a way to tax it.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything is about taxation.
All right, we're gonna lay off till June, and then we'll figure it out.
Right.
And then,
Can you tell the listeners, because I certainly don't need to know, but the difference between CBD and THC, because they sell the CBD, it's at the bodegas now.
The CBD, it just doesn't have the psychoactive properties of THC. So you'll get a body, your body will feel like you drank a glass of wine.
Your body will be telling you yes, and your mind will be telling you no.
Cannabinoid. Yeah. They just split the particles and
can you got that word right?
Yeah, I did get that word right. But in some of the listings, like it's important for people to read the disclaimers too on these bottles because they have to stand by that. Mm-hmm. So they tell you that they have to say what part isn't and what it is and the effect because that's the product, man. You don't want no K2
Well, that's what.
Oh, right. Well, that's what I think
initially,
when I
wasn't
see
for
it.
the dispensaries. I'm like, you motherfuckers just want to tax you want to make money off of my. But I do like the fact that now you can read the back of a package of a gummy and know exactly how many milligrams is the THC and how many is CBD. I appreciate that because I'm a functioning gummy bear.
Hello. Pass them around again, Joy. Oh.
Hey, yes, it's a day.
Special delivery.
Gummy bear. Thank you. I'm so excited.
That's what I'm talking about.
Welcome home.
Hey.
And Jersey is legal now, right? So it was about to be legal.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's medicinal in Jersey.
Oh my God.
To the left, Rocky. To the left,
Yeah,
Rocky. Act like you've been here.
Internet's on that note.
Get your CBD.
While we relax and medicate.
And get
God
your
bless
BBD.
you.
I didn't know.
Rocky.
I'd have had you early. I didn't
Make sure you
know.
got your GED.
Thank you for coming, for breaking it down with us and coming in here and helping us continue our Women's Her Story Month project. I mean, we had an actress, we've had a professional muse and whisperer.
I like whisper.
An oracle and confidant.
An oracle. Okay, and we're only halfway. We're not even halfway through the month.
Yeah.
But your energy is dope, and you got me hype for this
Thank you.
Marbury documentary.
Yep.
Because I know your boys,
Go.
Cootie and Chica. I know how ill they are.
Yes,
They're
a
ill.
kid from Coney Island. Make sure you check it out.
Definitely. We're on it. And adults only. When do you think you're gonna drop?
Oh my God, I'm such a hoarder of the things that mean so much to me. But what I'm planning on doing is just archiving. What we're definitely not doing is chasing trends.
Okay.
So it's not like, oh, this happened yesterday, we got to talk about it. That you become a slave to that,
Absolutely.
and I want nothing to do with that.
You're gonna make nice evergreen content.
Yes.
That whenever we hear it.
Yeah, so I'm
It'll be
planning on
timely,
dropping
it'll
it as a series. You're gonna get the entire series, boom, like it's goddamn Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Season 1.
That's a bet.
Yeah.
So we can binge on it. So we can binge on it.
Yeah.
Dope.
And I'm also, trying to make sure I love everything because I'm my worst critic.
Oh, yeah,
the
right.
Worst.
Hardest part is like putting it out and
Oh
being
my
satisfied
God! I
with
can
the
pick
product.
myself apart day and night. So it's just like I tell
That's why you
Cootie and
just gotta
Chica,
drop it
I leave it with
and
them.
let it
That's
go.
why I'm so blessed to have the team that I have because I know that they're gonna put me in my best light. They know when shit ain't right, and they're never gonna put me out there. So it's just like I'll close my eyes and let you guys do what you do. Shout out Cootie, Chica,
dope.
Citizen Chance, Dion Cole.
Gotta run
Cootie
with
and
the
Chica
dope
and
shit.
Joe Budden
run
got to
with the
cut us a
dope shit.
check. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Pratt.
I was going to say Cootie and Chike and Joe Budden got to cut us a check for this episode. We've been talking about them so much. Shouts
My
to Joe.
gosh.
Yeah, sidebar.
Yeah.
Sidebar. We're gonna talk a little back of the house business right now.
Yeah.
I was ready to yoke up A King
I
tonight
have no idea why.
because I'm like, yo, A King, you always fucking
No,
cut
I
me
don't.
off
I
when I'm
don't.
talking.
I disagree.
Well, you always cut me off when I'm talking. He's like, I'm not the dude always cutting you off.
I said that.
I think he did a good job today.
No, he did a great job today.
Rocky, I never
That's
cut
'cause you-
nobody on
you
this. I don't know.
don't-
And I'm like,
Some bullshit.
who else is cutting me off? Pratt. He said, I don't know. Do you listen to the shows? Pratt, you're a fucking hype beast, so
Killing
but
it.
I appreciate it.
He slides in pretty smooth, I'll say. Pause.
Ooh, look at you, Pratt. Look at you, Pratt.
There's no pause if you're saying it, Rocky. There's no pause if you're saying it, sweetheart.
Look at you with your haircut.
Yeah,
Rocky got a
right.
gummy
Feeling
too?
myself.
Yeah, they sliding in.
Yeah, one gummy was all it took.
That's all it takes. I'm a
right.
cheap date.
Internet, we got a
To
great
edit that one
here.
up.
We got a great one here. You can find her on Instagram.
Yes.
Raqi RAQI underscore. That's how I fucked up earlier. I was trying to find you without the underscore. RAQUI.
No, RAQI.
I'm sorry, RAQI underscore number 4
Real.
Raqi for real.
Yeah.
Blessings, Excelsior,
Yes.
continued success, and-
Received.
and we will keep our eyes on you. All
Thank
right,
you.
we will keep our ears open because I know it's about to go down.
I'm going to smack the shit out of 2020.
Hey,
Yeah.
speak
so
it.
We're setting it up, so
Let's all do
So-
that.
Blessings.
You,
Let's
you
all
ain't,
do
you ain't
that.
stop smacking the
That's
shit out of every
E3.
year. Stop it.
quietly.
Okay.
Quietly.
Any predictions? What's the next scandal that we're gonna have to deal with in the next 9 months?
I can't predict it.
I feel like the year's already over. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm already
So
in
much trauma.
2020, so
Yeah.
I'm just predicting greatness and
Well,
a
could
lot
we
of
get?
people waking.
We
the
kind of
fuck
veered
up.
away from it. I know we're wrapping it up, but could we get a final, just a prediction, just because you did it last time with Jussie? Can we get an R. Kelly prediction? How's this going to turn out for him? Is he going to just end up going to jail for tax evasion or something, or is he going to be reapprehended for this stuff?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I haven't really put much effort into the R. Kelly situation because it's just such a nasty situation, it's such a messy situation. I do definitely predict that the trial is going to be a whole lot messier than we expected. There's going to be people
TV.
involved.
Would you be surprised if he walked?
You know what? No.
Not in the
No.
eyes of
They're
the
going to
public.
get him in some way, shape, or form, but it may not be for what we're expecting them to get him for. But he's on the hook.
Damn.
So he had it's time. He has to pay the piper. You know.
Oh,
he's literally,
Well,
literally,
so to speak.
Aaron Hall,
You know.
He was
you
the
got
piper.
shot.
He
I was
was
about
the
to say.
piper.
He is
Now
the
he's out.
piper,
Now he's
and
paid
he's
for
the
being
broke piper, and he no longer has the money to
That's
spend
crazy.
on
That's
keeping
the,
things
that's
quietly.
the part that's crazy to me.
That he's broke.
That he wasn't
doesn't know
in
his
tune
publishing.
with his finances.
Do you know
and
how much
other
it
people-
takes
and other
to
people were.
finance a sex trafficking ring? That takes a
Lord.
lot of.
Can I just? Didn't we talk about the infrastructure?
Yeah.
That
You have
he
to
had
pay
to have to
police and
That's crazy.
and
the infrastructure
Yeah,
he must
madams.
have to have around him.
yeah.
To
That hush
maintain.
money is expensive.
Of course.
The most expensive thing in
the
the
entire
world is a secret.
We're talking about mega hits. We're talking about publishing. 30 years, he says he's been in the game. 30 years, and this dude has $350,000 alone. That's it.
I believe there's stashes elsewhere.
Yes.
Definitely
Yeah,
stashes
definitely.
elsewhere, but but it's not enough to maintain his lifestyle. He's so sick that he can't deal with not being cradled the way he has been, you know. So yeah, I say fuck him.
Well,
Damn.
my next question was going to be: you get that 2 a.m. call from Robert Sylvester saying, "Raqi, I'm fucked up right now, and
Fighting for my life.
I want to know
Yeah,
something right now." No,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
You get that
Turn-
call.
You can take a bottle of
Change it.
Oxycontins and go to bed.
Wow.
Good night.
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not a.
Some CBD oil.
He's
Change it.
a disservice to society. And I just want to bring one last thing up. I know we're wrapping it up,
Yeah.
but I do want to say to
Not
all
all.
of those out there on the internets, as you guys say,
Yes.
who are upset with Gail and anyone that's I guess making R. Kelly the face of pedophilia. I just want to say this: as a black woman, I hold black men to a higher standard,
Absolutely.
regardless. And I am never going to. I don't like the comparison. Oh, these 50 white men have done this. Harvey Weinstein and this one and that one has done this. Elvis Presley. Listen,
Sandusky.
I'm not going to take on their moral compass. As a black woman, I hold a black man in a higher regard and a higher standard. So it's going to affect me differently. I'm going to be more passionate about my brother doing this to my sister. So
Well,
at
and-
the end of the day, no one can hurt me as much as my own. So, and with that being said,
That's it.
God
Stone the
forbid.
motherfucker.
God forbid.
shit.
And
God
you're
forbid
there.
Katie Couric
Drop
or
the mic.
Diane Sawyer had been doing these interviews. Then the memes could have been a totally different. Like, look at this white woman doing this. It almost is better in a sense to, have it be even though it's on television, not being that kind of what.
No,
No. It's just that the type of question, or not even. It could be asking the same questions, but
Yeah.
because she's got white skin and she's asking it, then it
Yeah,
comes
it would
out
have been worse.
this
To
way.
me, if you ask me, it's worse.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
worse. Like,
Yeah.
let me handle them. Let
Or
me
Matt
handle
Lauer.
my brother, whether it's publicly or not. Let me handle him. And I want to say, I got a ultimate respect for Gail and her poise, because the Glock would have been out
she
on
said it.
Kelly.
She said, let him go.
Right.
The Glock would have
She
been
was
out
able
on
to
Kelly.
process it and say, all right.
I don't know how she did that,
The
because
second he popped
I
up.
could. I listen. What you want to do, Kels?
No. She took that classic stance where it's like, you know what? I hear you, but if you put a hand on me, I'm gonna let you.
He was
But if
he
you
was
put a-
he was
her
taking a step in the name of love.
In the stance.
Yo,
Like it was
right.
right
Like
here.
it was
tucked.
there.
If
Like
you
it
put
was
the hand on me,
Definitely.
that's the last thing you ever wanted to do.
Pray for Chicago, y'all.
You
Come
know,
on.
that's the last
Chicago,
thing you ever wanted.
Chicago, shit.
Goddamn, just see
Well,
again.
Chicago caught a nice one the other night against Philly.
That-
Zach Levine.
Yeah,
Oh, we're talking some
Back
basketball
to
talk.
basketball.
Yeah, Zach Levine. Yeah.
Thank you for having
You,
me.
Raqi, you knew. Raqi, you know.
I know a couple
Raqi,
things about a
you
couple
know.
things. Thanks for having me, guys, and I'm sure I'll be back here
Yes.
soon, maybe in
You
April
got
with
him.
Cootie and Chica.
Absolutely.
Once again, make
That's a
sure
bet.
you guys go check out A Kid from Coney Island.
Yo, these plugs
Can't wait for the screening.
Thank you. God bless.
Yep.
The Talkitecture podcast is a presentation of the Loudspeakers Network. where we always say rest in peace to Combat Jack. Episodes are executive produced by A. King and Dallas Penn. All episodes are engineered superbly by Brother Christopher. 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 By Brother Christopher.